Rollin', rollin', rollin'.
Alrighty. Are you ready? Sorry.
Are you ready to rumble? Here we go again. We just mentioned that. Here we go again. Going down the only road we've ever known.
Please don't sing. Please
like
don't
a couple
sing.
of apes. We were born to swing alone.
Okay, so welcome back. We are MixedUpz. You are MixedUpz.
You are MixedUpz because you listened in. It is officially tattooed on your soul. You can do nothing to reverse it.
This is You Should Know This Song. Again, our music commentary BS podcast.
Right.
Thank you for joining us.
About lyrics and music and rock and
roll
and
all
things
of its various
related
forms. Yes.
in all of its beautiful various forms.
Absolutely.
Splendor.
But don't get me started on that mess again.
It has splendor. Rock and roll has
splendor
splendor.
in the grass. Splendor and grass, I guess.
Splendor on the grass. Splendor when you're on the grass.
Oddly enough, neither one of us do that anymore, but still.
You might hear in the background.
We're outside. We're in the wild.
We're in the wild. The apes are in the wild again. Listen.
Cicadas.
All the critters, the creatures.
Yep. And by the way, what you can't hear is the mosquitoes and the gnats that are out here hanging with us.
That are making us wonder if it was the best decision. Yes, we've decided to choose the once in 200 or 300 years event where all the cicadas come out in double time. To get back out here into what we had hoped would be our primary recording environment, and that is outdoors.
Yes.
Instead of sitting inside cramped in a room over a couple of laptops. So we're out here breathing some fresh air and doing what it takes, and we're allowing all this noise and crap in the background, and we're crossing our fingers it doesn't sound completely intolerable on the final recording.
I hope it's as good for y'all as it is for me, because I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I mean, I just love to be outside, and it's that time of year. So let's get started on this episode. What do you got for me there, sir? I understand you have some corrections and clarifications.
Yeah, I want to briefly, I hope I can make it briefly, cover a conversation I had just a couple of days ago with a listener to the show. Actually, it's my brother-in-law. And
he is a listener.
He is a listener. He's not paid to be my brother-in-law or a listener. I can say that with some authority. Anyway, we were just going back and forth about a lot of things, and it ended up steering into talking about the podcast and how's it going, and him, reaching back to a couple of recent episodes he listened to, and in particular, mentioning that the effect of the show, the approach of the show is effective on him.
Meaning?
In specific regard to, we bring up these songs and these artists and these, sort of memories. I mean, we're not talking about future information.
Let's hope not.
So he hears the songs in his head, and his immediate impulse is to turn this damn thing off and go listen to that song. And he's like, I just keep thinking that's a horrible business model. like you're driving people
away.
Like,
you make them want to go hear the song and not listen to you. That's a good point.
What you're doing is telling them, hey, this sounds great. Go listen, time after time after time. Every 2 or 3 minutes, you're inviting them to get off your podcast. And I was thinking about it after the fact, and I was like, so what? That's what the idea here is like, we want to reach out to the community, for lack of a less cheesy sounding word. It's the accurate term in my head.
Right.
Of people who are into it this way.
Right.
And
Man, I got to hear that. Yeah.
If you turn it off for a minute because you just have the urge, the undeniable urge, or as Devo said, the uncontrollable urge, to go and listen to that right now, good. Come back.
We hope you come back, but really, if we get you to go listen to the music, we've done our job.
Whether it's because it's a song that was great and you haven't heard it in 10 years and we reminded you of it, or because it's a fact or information you've just got to go check out, fine.
These idiots are wrong. I have to prove them wrong.
If we trigger you, you're forgiven for hopping off the show. We would like you to come back. We hope you'll come back. But while it's a contradictory business approach,
right? We're not here. This ain't no business.
Right. We are here to enjoy it, and we're here to
help you enjoy
hopefully share the enjoyment with you.
Yes.
However that triggers you, right on.
Well, thank your brother-in-law for that, because that's an interesting point and entertaining to me as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about it all the time, and it goes back to that we can't play the song thing, right?
Right.
And we can't play the songs because of copyright issues, and we still argue about it to this day, the two of us, and I'm just not
Right.
willing to take the risk, and that's on me.
Right. We still think, should we? Could we? Should we try to get away with it? See what happens.
Anyway,
Play some of
yes.
it, and we get feedback from listeners who say, "Why don't you play the music? Why don't you play clips
And by
of the
the way,
songs?"
I'm going to be real quickly here.
Yeah.
I get a lot is, well, 15 seconds is okay, which is a common misconception.
Yeah.
No seconds are
Right,
okay,
right.
right? I mean, it can't be
No
any
seconds.
of
If
it. But
it's-
a lot of people, everybody that I talk to is like, well, you can do 15 seconds because people think that's the rule. No,
It's not a rule.
It's not a rule.
It's not a rule.
No.
It's a rumor.
Right.
And it may have some footing out in the world with regard to whether or not
Somebody's
going to pay attention to only 15 seconds of you using their stuff.
Right.
It
But anyway.
it does not mean they won't. And
Right.
that's a huge risk because all it takes is one person who decides, I'm going after you, and you're over.
Yeah,
It's done.
yeah.
You're on
Not
the
only
food
are we
stamps.
done, but like somebody else owns my house now.
Right. You're on food stamps.
Yeah.
It's
So
yeah.
we want to, but we can't. Anyway, I'm sorry.
So the other thing he had to say that I thought was, and I think you'll find this equally as important and deep, legitimately relevant and deep, is that he really likes bean enchiladas. He really,
you can't
he
help
really
yourself, can
likes, and he described how he gets a lot of them that we don't, which may be like a third person listening thing.
you? Sure.
When I'm sitting here with you face to face, I'm distracted by, oh my God, I keep
at that
looking at
face.
this guy's
Yeah.
face. But I'm also thinking, I'm drawn in by things we've said and the last thing we talked about, whatever, prepping for the show and this and that. So maybe somebody with a third person ear is a little more open to what's coming out
Absolutely.
there. But he said he just loves it when it flicks into his mind and he's like, oh, it's that song, that's hilarious. Or when the two of us are like, oh, I can't, it's not there, and he's like, come on, it's right there.
Yeah.
So I appreciated hearing from that perspective and hearing how
You said
that's
Brian,
going.
right?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
thank you, Brian. For me personally, the other guy doesn't really count, but thank you for me. Because, I agonize over that one. I really do. I agonize over all of it because, who wants to listen to a couple old fucks talk? But the truth is, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable for us, and as much as I whine and complain, I dig it too, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that. Reed can't hear me right now.
You chortle every time you read
I
it.
do.
Bean enchiladas stuff. I know.
So enough of that. Again,
quick-
I do believe that you had, as I said earlier, before you segued into the Brian thing, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying you were wrong. Thank you for doing that. You had some corrections, and
I want to do a plug real quick for Brian.
okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
But I
Please, go
intended to
ahead.
do this. Brian is an artist living in Augusta, Missouri. Very cool stuff, and I'm
I went to
only
the website, man. That is some really cool
Yeah.
metal work. They're amazing.
again. We are sharing websites and people's stuff because it's the right thing to do. I mean, I'm not looking to get something back from this or whatever.
No, man. But I mean, it's
If
cool
there's
shit.
something cool to share with people,
People, you'll enjoy going and looking at it.
right?
So please
If
go
Brian
ahead.
benefits from it, great. If you just enjoy looking at it and you benefit from looking at it, great. The website is www.augmoma.com, AUGMOMA.com. It's abbreviated for Augusta, Missouri Arts, augmoma.com. Check it out. They do some really amazing stuff.
It is
anyway,
some cool stuff, man.
Yeah.
I've really dug looking at it.
And hey, if you've got a project you want them to do, more power to you. But if you like just looking at cool stuff, maker stuff, I mean, some of the information on there for those of you who are fans of maker websites, maker videos, and what have you, it's pretty cool. Okay, so I wanted to also touch on a couple of, items. We're calling them corrections
and clarifications.
and clarifications from past episodes, from past sessions. We'll be rambling along and we'll just make a comment on something that, we'll get done with a clue and one of us will have just a follow-up question. Oh, hey, do you know when that was? Well, it's not really in the course of doing the research to go to that level of detail, but
Right.
it's an interesting question.
Sure.
And there it is. Now it's out in the wild for everybody to wonder about.
And we're not going to stop the show and make you wait while we
Right,
look it
hold
up.
on while we click around on the web and check it out. So, for instance, and we're going to try to do this with
Regularity.
some regularity
And hopefully with some alacrity.
alacrity. Exactly. We mentioned the song Future So Bright Gotta Wear Shades a few episodes ago. It was one of the challenges. And we stumbled over whether how much
the amount was. How much
how
would
many
buy a lot of beer?
thousand per year will buy a lot of beer.
Yeah. And I think I said 30,000 was
you
what I
said
said.
30, and we said, well, maybe it's 40. And then, we said it's 50,000 a year will buy a lot of beer. Things are going great, and they're only getting better.
There you go.
So there's things like that. I mean, maybe it's a correction. It didn't need to be corrected. It's a goofy point.
But
It's not
the answer.
affecting someone's career or
Let's get it right.
Greg Rowley, this is more of a correction. We also were unclear over when Greg Rowley left Santana. That was in 1971. We were rolling around
The
with
mid-70s there.
Right, the mid-70s, and we even mentioned, I was confused. Was it 1978 or something? Neil Schon, by the way, left Santana in 1972, shortly after Rowley. And Schon and Rowley formed Journey in 73, and their first album was put out in 75. So 2 years to come out with the first Journey album.
But when I saw them in 79 at the...
Oh my gosh, I could see you had it, and it vanished from your mind.
When I saw them at a day in the park at Comiskey Park with my siblings, and I believe it was the only concert that all four of us ever went to.
Right.
And again, that was $8.10 for the ticket, and that included the T-shirt, because 810 was the number of the radio station.
Yeah.
When I saw them then,
What a thing.
Both Neil Schon and Greg Rowley were still with the band. Steve Perry was singing.
Yeah.
They actually sounded like the album that day.
Yeah.
Sorry to go sideways on you, but
Rowley left Journey in 1980, and Schon, of course, carried Journey until still continuing. All of that is part of what we're doing here with just following up on some. We made a correction, but then we had some interesting stuff there to talk about. I'll only pick a couple of other things here to touch on because I've got about a dozen. I don't want to take up a whole lot of time.
really, honestly, you don't want to take up a whole bunch of time.
I don't take a whole bunch of time up with this.
Sure, okay, go ahead.
I'll do two. We were unclear as to whether Michael McDonald sang on 2, 3, or more Doobie Brothers albums as, I'm going to say the lead singer, the primary vocalist in the band.
Right,
Let's
yes.
put it that way. And what I could find was that he sang in that capacity on Taking It to the Streets, Minute by Minute, and Living on the Fault Line. But remained active and involved with the band. But after Living on the Fault Line, they all took a break.
Yeah.
There wasn't more Doobie Brothers activity until some years later. I want to say 6 or 7 when, and Tom Johnson had taken a break from the band, but then came back, and they did another album. I think maybe a couple more albums since
And
then.
several last tours.
And they've done tours. They have toured a bit, and to good acclaim here. And glad to have them touring and have them back. The other thing I'll touch on that I hope is still brief. I'm only gonna touch on a couple of these, but I can't remember what brought us to this, discussion point in one of the past episodes, but we were going back and forth about how many hits Fleetwood Mac in their iterations had before Rumors.
I think what I said was that they were a well-known blues band, but weren't mainstream until after Rumors. And I really, honestly, I'm going to own this one. That's a misspeak, right? I mean, like
Only marginally.
I mean, they weren't
They weren't mainstream in the United States.
for
as
fans
much.
beyond the top 40. They were known.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct. Right.
But you were going to say, please.
Blues rock, hard rock radio, that kind of thing, and they have some progressive rock stuff going on in their formative albums. There were several formative albums. I'm calling those the ones before Rumors.
Sure.
But just to touch on, to verify some of the songs that people would recognize, and a lot of you who are deep Fleetwood Maxians, and there are a lot of people out there who wear the armor.
Yes.
I know that's true. Songs like Bare Trees.
Yep. I think that's one of my sister's favorite Fleetwood Mac.
I love the song Bare Trees. Sentimental Lady. Spare Me a Little, which is one of my favorite Christine McVie showing off her voice songs, along with Oh Daddy. Christine McVie has a phenomenal voice. Come a Little Bit Closer is a fun song to reference. This Is the Rock, which was played on rock radio and hard rock radio stations and was a cool, like, Elvis-y takeoff song. Hypnotized.
Oh, yeah. That's Bob Welch, right?
Bob Welch, right? Emerald Eyes. You know, there are a number of. I could go on. I put down like 15 or so.
There were some songs that they were well known for before
that they were
Rumors album
well
that we
recognized
did not recognize in that discussion.
Well, we didn't. Right, we questioned, and the reality is that there's no question.
Right, absolutely.
Right, they had established themselves, and again, bigger across the pond, with more songs than these being known.
By the way,
certainly in the
it
US,
really gets to me when you say across the pond.
It was a quick way to say what I couldn't think, and that was in Europe.
Yeah.
Which would have been shorter, but I just couldn't come up with a term in Europe. So go with age on that one. Just, you know, mental decline.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to get down to the meat, the nut meat of it here, and stop with the bluster. Meat? And
okay,
I love my catchphrases.
I have to sit with this guy, man. I'm telling you, I have to actually sit here while we're doing this, no matter what he says. But it's time to move on to the meat of this, the subject here, and we're doing something new today.
We are.
Okay, isn't that the deal?
We're doing something.
And by the way, just so y'all know, he just sprung this shit on me this morning. I didn't know this before it actually happened.
Actually, I know you're ready for it. I know you're good for it. You can perform in the clutch. I know you can perform in the clutch. This is sort of a double-edged sword. This is something new and not something new. You see what I'm saying? See what I'm getting at there? Because all these things are things we've done, but we haven't just jumbled them all together.
Right. So what he's calling this, and you guys have by now know his weirdness with words, is the MixedUpz MixedApez. And by the way, lots of Z's in there, just so you know. And what the format here is, there's no format.
There's no format.
He's like, you can do whatever kind of challenge you want. So just jump around your spreadsheet and confuse the hell out of yourself.
The format is that it's all challenges, lyric challenges, but you can pick and throw in and choose and change challenge by challenge to any of the challenge games that we have been using, that we've already used.
Now, the bad news is that we've spent so much time on getting to this point that we've used up all the time in the episode, and now we can't do it. No, I'm kidding.
It's over.
Kidding.
We'll be able to get 6 or 7 or 8 in.
It is time to get onto those challenges, kids.
So this is MixedUpz MixedApez on. You should know this song, and those of you who have listened more than twice will be familiar with a lot of what's going on here. So with that said, I'm going to start off. How about that?
Please do.
My first offering is Prime Cutz.
Okay. Something we're all familiar with.
So it's our main game.
And we're not going to stop and explain the format of each game, right? We're just going to do them.
It's a text delivery. So here is your challenge I just sent to Race.
I don't want anybody else. Can I have a second line, please, sir?
I don't
Please,
want
sir. May I have some more?
anybody else. How about this?
When I think about you, I touch myself.
I just gave you the name of the song.
You just gave me the name of the song.
But do you know the band?
It's I Touch Myself, and if it's not the Donnas.
Close. Starts with a D.
The DiVinyls.
Aha.
There we go.
I was more interested in whether you could guess a band because I knew you'd get the song.
Yeah.
Even if I just gave you When I Think About You.
Yes.
You would have gotten it.
I love this song, by the way.
Yeah, isn't it a great tune?
It's a great song.
It was so ballsy of her. Them to put. I was inappropriate and ballsy.
But I mean, that was kind of the thing in that period, right? So this has got to be late 80s, early 90s?
1990.
There you go.
Very, very cool. Nailed it right on the head.
Yeah. There was a fair amount of getting a little risque in the rock and roll area.
Sure. Relax. Don't do it.
Yeah. Right around then. Yeah, absolutely.
I've always loved how she yodels the "When I Think About You." You know what I mean? I love that from moment one. So that's I Touch Myself by the DiVinyls, and what a great name that was for a band.
Oh, absolutely.
Billy Steinberg, Tom Kelly, Mark Christopher McKenty, Christina Joy Amflet wrote that, and that is the DiVinyls from 1990. So now you get to play any game you want.
All right, so here's something for a starting lines for you.
Starting lines. I should know this first line of this song. There might have been things I missed. Oh, thank you. Now I have that in my head, and it's terrific. But don't be unkind. It don't mean I'm blind.
And there it is.
That was me coming out with the rest of it out of my head. He didn't.
Which is actually the next line after your line.
Right.
Or he said, but there it is. I'm sorry.
And that is the wonderful, fantastic, fabulous Emerson, Lake and Palmer, too short-lived of a musical group's career and musical output for the rest of us to enjoy. And that is In the beginning.
From the beginning.
From the beginning. From the beginning.
Off the Trilogy album written by Greg Lake, 1972. I saw on one of the many late-night rock and roll shows from when we were children, you know, In Rock, Don Kirshner's rock concert. You remember, there were several,
yes,
right?
Absolutely. Midnight Special.
Midnight Special. I saw a show that was ELP, and Keith Emerson, the keyboard player, was sitting at his piano, and it lifted up in the air and started spinning around horizontally with him still playing the entire time.
Like the guys at the circus in the motorcycle cage? Where they go around all different,
Yes, it was spinning, you know, on its axis across the middle of a grand piano. It was a grand piano.
Right.
He's on the seat, and he's going
he's
ass
in
over
position.
heels, I think is the phrase, right?
Right.
While he's playing, it was pretty fucking amazing.
The piano was spinning on its axis, and he didn't fall on his axis. It didn't drop him on his axis.
Very nice.
I want to mention, because it is regularly on my mind. I mean, regularly on my mind. The keyboard solo in that song is one of the greatest gifts to my mind. Oh, it is.
That one?
If you don't know the keyboard solo, it's a great song. The bass line is cool. I mean, the whole song is good. The guitar is cool. If you don't know that song, go, you know, even drop what you're doing. Come back afterward, but go listen to ELP's From the Beginning and listen to it all the way through and enjoy all those parts. But tell me if you're not whistling that keyboard solo for days.
And while I'm not a great whistler, I do hear it in my head all the time.
Yeah.
And I was actually at a, what do you call a place where they only make creperie? That's what you call it. At a creperie. I was at a creperie in Quebec City in 1981.
Is that a crepe restaurant?
It's a restaurant that just does crepes.
Just does crepes. I've never heard the term.
It's very common in Europe, and at least in France.
Yeah, I don't know European stuff, right? You cannot talk to me.
And in French, Quebec.
Okay.
So I was at creperie with my first wife before we were married in 1980 or 81, and there was a strolling guitarist.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Can you play?"
What's it called now when they do that? What are you doing when you go down on the street and you play
busking?
Busking, yes.
Well, this was a strolling guitarist in the restaurant.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. He was more like a mariachi.
Sure, but not so much.
Sorry, I'm totally interrupting your point.
So that's all right. Anyway, I asked him, "Hey, like, can you play From the Beginning by ELP?" And he's like, "No," and he walked away.
I love the ending to that story. I wish I had told that story.
It pretty much sums up my first marriage. Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you got for me now, Mr. MixedUpz?
Your next rando challenge is going to be this bean enchiladas. Are you ready?
I should have known. Every picture throws a soggy donut. Every picture tells a story by Rod Stewart.
Every picture tells a story, don't it?
Every picture throws a soggy donut.
Every picture throws a soggy donut.
That was an easy one.
It was easy, but it was fun for me because
you're an idiot.
I can just imagine a couple of announcers at a ball game and the phrase soggy donut coming into terminology.
They do use some, I mean, they've got
every
some fancy...
pitcher throws a soggy donut from time to time.
Okay, so you want to give me the specs on that one, please?
It is so enjoyable to entertain myself so
much. It really is.
And,
you know, at least you're getting entertained.
That's right. Every picture tells a story, which is just another song that is on regular play in my head. Rod Stewart, not?
Oh, that's a great fucking song.
Oh,
seriously,
gosh,
that's a great fucking song.
Oh, my gosh. Musically, lyrically, structurally.
And the story that it tells.
Yeah. So great. That was Rod Stewart, not with Faces, whatever. It's credited as being Rod Stewart.
Although a lot of Faces was actually in that band.
He and Ronnie Wood wrote it, 1971, from the album Every Picture Tells a Story. So that is my little bit of enjoyment for you. You're welcome. What do you got for me?
All right. So this is verbally done now. All right. What I call whatever, what you call Tune That Name.
Whatever.
At the boundary.
At the boundary.
What does that conjure for you?
On the border.
Very good.
On the border. Eagles?
No. That's the name of an album by the Eagles.
On the border of the restaurant?
On the border, the song.
The song, On the Border.
By
who?
Al Stewart.
Oh, yeah, that one too. The Eagles On the Border. That's an Eagles song.
I thought it was the name of the album. Is it the name of the song?
No, it's the name of the song.
Okay. I'll give you that.
Cruising down the middle of a two-way street.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You are correct.
But Al Stewart
Al
on the border.
Stewart, Year of the Cat, that album.
Yeah.
Phenomenal Spanish guitar.
Oh, my gosh.
Here's the deal.
Love that song.
The pianist that was playing piano on that cut,
See?
okay, his name was Peter White.
Okay.
And they were like, we need a flamenco guitarist for this song. And he's like, I can play flamenco
I can do
guitar.
that.
He had never, ever professionally recorded
playing flamenco
guitar before.
But he
knew how.
Played
He had,
flamenco.
Obviously. Well,
Right.
one would hope, or else he was
Right, some
very
sort of
gifted
prodigy.
musician.
Yeah.
He stepped up and said, yeah, I can do that. And so they said, oh, really? And he said, yeah. And showed
Oh,
him
yeah, prove it.
And he did. And they said, oh, well, cool. We're not going to have to hire anybody because we already pay you.
Right.
And they put him in the song. It is his first recording of him playing flamenco guitar.
That's a pretty great story.
Yeah, it really was. I dug it. And I knew that you liked that kind of thing, so I wanted to share
and
it with you.
And I love that song, and I love Al Stewart.
Oh,
and,
man. You know what?
whatnot.
Al Stewart, there's those 2 albums there.
It's really all I'm familiar with, too, although I know
Yeah,
there's more.
there's more.
And again, across the pond, he
Right.
had more success.
As you say, oh,
As I say,
I'm getting a little
I did that
flustered when
on
you say
purpose.
that. So, yeah, anyway, that's, it's not anything that's, like, how can I say it? Like, they weren't huge hits. He had a couple of hits.
Yeah.
He wasn't a long-term success in rock and roll as far as being a big name. He may have had lots of success playing and recording and whatever, but he wasn't extremely well known. It's a very niche kind of thing.
His style covered a lot of off mainstream rock styles.
Yes.
Right.
Those 2 albums, I really dig them.
Yeah.
They're
very,
very,
cool
very
music,
good. Very cool music. Yeah.
And there's crossover into adult contempt and maybe even easy listening.
Yeah, but some of
happened
that
with it, but
it's
that doesn't mean anything.
It's not like it's.
You know what? It's still rock and roll.
Yes. It's not shit that's generated by somebody just doing a cover of something. It's his own original stuff, and the flamenco guitar in that is pretty amazing. It's pretty well done.
Yeah, it's a very cool song.
All right, so there's my whatever for you.
Right.
What do you got for me
well,
there,
what I got for
big guy?
you is a
No more soggy donuts, please.
I'll save those. I'll save another bean enchilada for later. What I've got for you is a Prime Twist and Shout.
Okay.
So, verbally delivered here. You should know some lyrics to what is and what should never be.
Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of it here.
It's so great because
if tomorrow I should leave you, or if by chance I should leave you.
You're close. You're close. Are you hearing the start of the song and your mind has to play all the notes until it starts the verse? I love it.
The wind don't blow. You really shouldn't go. You really shouldn't know. It only goes to show. Whoa. Have I got? Is that enough, or do I have to keep going?
That's enough. You know the song.
Yes.
And now, while we do the rest of the show, that's all going to be unraveling in the
my
back
head.
of your head. I
yes,
love it.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Evil bastard, you.
Very cool. Very cool. That is what is and what should never be from Zepp, off of Led Zeppelin 2, 1969. James Patrick Page and Robert Anthony Plant wrote that together to the delight of billions of ears. And now I'm hearing the song and I'm hearing Okay, go on. What do you got?
Okay, that was lovely. Thank you. You should know some of the cities from a Route 66 challenge in Dancin' in the Streets.
Oh.
And for bonus points, can you tell me the act?
And we're supposed to get at least 2, but more than 2, if the song has a potential for 2. So Chicago, New Orleans, New York City, Detroit, Cleveland.
He doesn't say Detroit. She does say Motor City.
Motor City. Sorry, Motor City. There's a lot of towns.
Philadelphia, PA, Baltimore, and DC now.
And aren't there more than that, or is that it?
Those are all the ones I caught.
Record them all? Yeah, okay. I was thinking there were a lot more in the back verses. So that is...
Whom?
Originally...
Yeah, because there have been covers of that.
Yeah, and the one that is stuck in my face is with the guy that we talk about with some regularity here. I can see his face. I'm hearing him singing the song. I'm watching him play the keyboards and perform the song. He was in Traffic. He was in Blind Faith.
Steve Winwood?
Steve Winwood.
Okay,
Why? I could not conjure his name.
You're like a huge fan of Steve Winwood.
Huge.
Okay.
Steve Winwood. I'm hearing Steve Winwood's performance, but I'm gonna say Ronnie and the Ronettes, Shondells.
You're in the right neighborhood, but you're definitely
I don't have
Martha and the Vandells.
Martha and the Vandells. Shondells. I was thinking of the Shondells. Was there a Shondells?
There was a Shondells band.
Okay, So I got the Vandals and Shondells mixed up.
Marvin Gaye, William,
I apologize.
Mickey Stevenson, William, in quotes, Mickey Stevenson, Ivy Jo Hunter are the writers. Martha and the Vandellas, the song is Dancin' in the Streets, 1964, from Martha and the Vandellas' Dance Party.
And I did, for some reason, I did know that Marvin Gaye was involved in writing that song, and I can't remember when or why that came to my attention. So it doesn't matter. Okay, you are about to get a starting line from me that I think you will get a kick out of. I hope you'll get a kick out of it. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
You should know more lyrics to this first line of this song, and you should know the song.
I heard the men saying something. That's the starting line.
You feeling like you know it? I mean, is it echoing around in there?
A little bit. Is there a second line?
We're not supposed to, but the captains tell they pay you well.
Oh, that's Kansas. Point of no return.
Yeah. Yes. Point of no return. Very good. Kansas. Yes. Now it's all in your head.
Yes. You love that, don't you?
I do.
You evil
such a kick
bastard,
out of that.
you.
And all of you out there, if it's torturous for you, that means it's working. Okay. Point of no return. Kansas, of course. And what a great song. Do we need to say that? Phil Earhart, Robert Steinhardt, and Steve Walsh wrote that all together. Put it out in 1977 on the album of the same name, with the ship with its sails going over the corner of the album cover down the waterfall,
yes,
suggesting the flat earth and the point of no return. That was fun for me, and man, now I'm hearing every part of that song and all the instrumentals and all that stuff.
Okay, so as much as it pains me, I have one for you from Bean Enchiladaz.
Ooh, you returned to the bean before me.
Yes.
I love it. I have infected you.
Let me try that again. Hi, Reed, how are you? You should have some idea what the fuck I'm talking about here.
I should be able to ingest this and maybe digest it. Here we go. Last night I fed on some bagels. Last night. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's in there. It's in there. And it's funny. Last night I fed on some bagels. No.
Be more like, last night I fed on some bagels.
It's Madonna.
It's Madonna.
I was not going to get that because it's Madonna.
La Isla Bonita is the song.
Yes.
Last night I dreamt of San Pedro is the song.
Oh.
Is the
yes,
line.
Last night I dreamt of San Pedro.
Yes. And actually, that's a pretty good song, frankly. And I know that you're not a big Madonna fan.
I'm not a Madonna fan.
I
will give it to that song having, some creativity and what have you.
True Blue, 1987.
Tropical, The Island Breeze.
Yeah. That's a cool tune.
All the Something Wild and Free.
Yeah, it kind of gives you, it really gives you the vibe of the islands thing.
La Isla Bonita.
Yes.
Yeah. It makes me want to go to Barcelona.
Barcelona. Hello, my name is Nico Montoya. True Blue,
Sorry.
1987, Madonna, Patrick Leonard, Bruce Gates. Last night I dreamed of San Pedro. So what do you got for me over there, Chief?
I'm going to do another starting line.
Okay.
Because this one, I'm going to enjoy how quickly it triggers you. And,
you say that. That's not fair.
No, this one's going to be like just a get it right away, which I don't know why when I see something, when I think of something in a first lyric that is only a couple words and I know that it's going to give the whole song up, I'm like, why is that cool to me? I don't know why it is, but this is one of them and it's going to work. So here we go. Man, I'm really setting myself up for some bad shit, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Little ditty about Jack and Diane.
Yeah. See, just 2 words.
Yeah,
Little
yeah,
ditty.
Yeah. Little ditty. It
Little
took me
ditty.
a second. I was rolling through my head. I heard a song this week, and I can't think of it right now. Something I hadn't heard in a long time, and I wanted to share it with you. But, like, the title is in every single line.
Yeah.
There was another one. I was listening again to Sirius Radio. It was a deep hits, or deep tracks segment.
Sure.
And he was doing a theme, and the theme was songs that have "ain't" in the title. And there's a bunch of them. There's a whole lot of them.
I love that.
And it was one called "Ain't Gonna Be Easy" by Elton John that I had not heard before.
Yeah.
And it's essentially, you screwed around on me and moving forward ain't gonna be easy.
Right.
And if you don't know the song, go listen to it because it's not the Elton John that you normally hear.
This is not
it's a
your
little,
standard Elton John.
It's a little darker than he usually sings. It's almost like Madman Across the Water.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Which,
yeah, it's
boy,
a great
I
song.
love that song. Ooh.
Yeah. I'm not sure who wrote it, whether it was him alone or him and Bernie Taupin. But I got to tell you, I don't remember ever hearing it before. But every single song says, every single line has, it ain't going to be easy.
Right, in
the beginning. And then there's something else that he changes, you know. I mean, like literally every single line of the song was like, there's no way I'm going to use that, but I want to talk about that song.
It's funny because I bet you had the same reaction, immediate sort of mental contradiction that I just had when you mentioned that you hadn't heard it before. First, my mind went, what? You haven't heard it before, Elton John? And then my mind went, there's 1,000 Elton John songs. Of course you haven't heard some of them.
Sure.
Like,
I mean, do you know that song?
I don't think I do.
There I go.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I mean,
and then when I think about
Deep Tracks, and by the way, Earl Bailey is the DJ for Deep Tracks.
Yeah,
and he has been a rock and roll DJ forever.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think he's been with Sirius Radio since in the last 23. He started like 23, 24 years
right.
ago. Pretty sure he's been with them all along, and he is their classic rock guy.
Right, he's their anchor classic rock guy.
Yeah.
Right. Was it an older song,
yes,
or is it off
absolutely.
of some of the newer?
No, it's something. It's something back from late 70s, early 80s at the latest.
I've probably heard it,
but
because we used to play the Elton John, front of the album, back of the album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't something you took off the player.
Right.
So I probably heard it, but didn't, it wasn't one that when I had the opportunity to play it on repeat for myself.
Sure.
I did.
All right,
okay.
So I guess it's my turn.
Wait, I have to finish up.
Tell us about the little ditty from Jack and Diane.
That all stemmed from was John Cougar Mellencamp, Life Goes On, Jack and Diane, 1982, and John Mellencamp wrote that. It was on his American Fool album, and thank you, John Cougar Mellencamp, for that song. Sometimes I've heard it sometimes.
Just enough, yes.
Yeah, but it's a great song, but, it is saturated. Man, is it saturated.
All right,
still.
I have a clue here from Your Mother Should Know. And for some reason, I can't not say it that way anymore.
Why not?
I don't speak like that. That's
you
not
don't
my
want
general
to?
patois. You like that, patois?
Yeah. My clue is...
Your mother should know this.
But the kettle's on the boil. Those are the words. And we're so easily called away. Yes, of course I know that song. Well, wait a minute. You have tricked me on a Beatles song before that it's one of their songs that transitions into another song and back into the song.
This is not one of those.
Okay.
Although this song does have two titles because it actually is two songs edge to edge.
Yes.
As edge to edge.
Doesn't it end with dong?
The one that we were talking about before does.
Okay. See, there I am. Now I'm all confused. I've got them all
That's A Day in the
crossed out.
Life.
This is...
Which has a lyric from Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is what you're referencing.
I am scrambled on all the eggs, and I'm not going to be able to tell you what the name of the song is.
But the kettle's on the boil.
And we're so easily called away.
Admiral
Palsy.
Admiral Halsey. Admiral Halsey, not
sorry.
Admiral Palsy.
No, that was a bean enchilada from my youth, and I stumbled over it. I've never shaken that one. I've never shaken it. I know it's Admiral Halsey.
Oh,
do you have those? Do you have those that you knew from when you were a kid were bean enchiladas? They were stuck in your head wrong, and still you can't not say them.
I may have,
unless you're paying attention to yourself, they just come out.
Think of, but they're
my gosh, I have a handful of those. I can't name one right now, but they come out, and I'm like,
porcupine comes to mind.
Oh my gosh!
Which, by the way, is one of my absolute favorite songs. "This So Hard of Mine" by the
yes.
Brothers. So that is written by Paul McCartney. Actually, the artist was Paul McCartney. That is written by Paul and Linda McCartney.
Okay.
It's off the Ram album, which is between Beatles and Wings.
Yes.
1971. It's Uncle Albert and Admiral Halsey are the two songs.
I was trying to get back to the part where it changes
We're so sorry,
Uncle Albert.
Uncle Albert.
And I could not get there because I kept skipping over to a different song that's a Beatles song.
But it's not.
Wow.
This is not a Beatles song. But
it is not.
You were skipping over to another song that Paul McCartney probably wrote.
Yes, indeed. Okay, well, that was fun and stupid. And I'm only partially sorry that I missed it because it took us to a weird place, which was enjoyable. Okay, you are about to get an Ask and Ye Shall Deceive.
Okay.
I'm going to deliver this in text because it's just fun that way, although this is normally delivered verbally. You ready?
Sure, go right ahead. Who screamed, "My bark is much worse than my bite"?
And you do know this song.
I do know
you
this
should know
song.
this song, and you do know this song.
It's not coming, brother.
How can I give you a clue to trigger it? You're not getting anything in there?
I know.
He said, "Leave me alone. I'm a family man. And my bark is much worse than my bite."
No, I haven't got it.
He screamed, "Leave me alone. I'm a family man. And if you push me too far, I just might."
I just
Hall &
might.
Oates.
I just might.
Right.
Yeah.
Hall & Oates.
What is that?
Hall & Oates, Family Man.
Because I knew when you said it and you pushed me too hard that it ended on "I just might."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was so. I thought you know that because you're a Hall & Oates-o. I mean, you're a Hall & Oates guy, as far as I understand it, and that is a big Hall & Oates hit.
Actually, I'm not really. You've accused me of that before.
You're not really.
I'm
that
not
big
really a big Hall & Oates guy.
Oates.
I'm a big
Daryl
Daryl Hall guy.
Daryl
But I
Oates.
also have said to you several times how weird it is that they don't get more airplay when they
Yes.
own so much of the radio.
Yes.
And if that sounded like I was looking for more of it, I wasn't necessarily. I just thought it was
Oh,
really
I see.
odd.
I see.
That
Yeah.
because you remember in the mid '80s,
Oh my gosh.
every
Yeah.
damn week was a new hit from them.
Yeah. They were.
And it's like you listen to, what it is, the adult contemporary BS, what's playing at Walmart
Sure.
and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
There's not anywhere near as much Hall & Oates in that as I would think there should be because of how much of the radio play they owned at the
Because
time.
of the spectrum, right? They were
Right.
crossover and adult contemporary and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, how much? With all
that
due
was-
respect, where are we in the?
Yes, in the continuum.
Yes.
I think we should do maybe one more each.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
think
You're about
we've,
to give credits to.
From our initial ranting to
We're
this,
getting there.
we're in deep time here. So that was Family Man by Hall & Oates, written by Pat Green, from 1982 off of the H2O album. And even though you are not, this gives me an opportunity to say you would really dig that song. It's a cool story in the song, and it's a cool song, and the writing is cool, and the instrument is cool. The instrumental is cool. You would like that song.
I need to listen to it. Is that homework?
Go scrape
That's
it up.
homework.
It's homework. I just gave you homework. Okay, one more for you.
Sure.
Well,
what do I want to do?
Actually, didn't I start?
I believe
So
you.
it's two more for you, one more for me. If we're gonna
Okay, so I think we're gonna do a quick hits. You know these are supposed to be.
quick.
Well, since my baby left me.
Oh, I found a new place to dwell.
And where is that?
It's down at the end of Lonely Street. It's called Heartbreak.
All right, so
Oh my gosh, how many?
Heartbreak Hotel, written by Mae Boren Axton, Tommy Durden, and Elvis Presley, released as a single in 1956.
1956.
Before either of us were born, and we're both old.
Good Lord, as they say.
What do you got for me?
Heartbreak Hotel.
Oh, you know who does a really cool Elvis sound is in Must Be Love by James Gang with Tommy Bolin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't thought about that song
That's
in a while.
a great song.
Yeah.
Now I'm feeling low there. Must be love, yeah.
Exactly.
That's that and 20 Flight Rock, which is an Eddie Cochran song,
Yeah.
are both, I believe, owned by Elvis Presley Music, but they're both tunes that have been done by rock and roll bands to some really great success, if not financial
and
success.
great versions.
Great versions,
iterations
right?
of
Yeah,
them.
20 Flight Rock, I've heard a couple different versions.
Yeah.
Certainly Montrose does one.
Right.
And both those versions that are in my head right now, and this is irrespective of everything, they fucking rock.
Yeah. Cool. And there you go. More stuff for you people to go listen to and search up and, enjoy and indulge with. Okay, I'm going to do another Prime.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, so I think I'm going to give you this one, even though I think there's a chance it might be tough. It's just think, alternative music.
Thanks for all your confidence.
Well, I mean, think alternative music, and if you get it, you love the song. So I'll be excited if you get it. But, here you go. This is Prime, yes.
I had visions, I was in them, I was looking into the mirror.
No.
Second line?
Second line, coming right your way.
To see a little bit clearer, the rottenness and evil in me. No, it's not ringing anything.
Do you know the song Flagpole Sitta by Harvey Danger?
It sounds familiar, and my youngest son was a big Harvey Danger fan for a little bit.
this was certainly their biggest hit, and it's a big hit. It still gets heavy rotation on the alt rock channels and what that stuff. 1997, so it's it's at the edge of the basket there. It is a really, really cool song, and I think if I played a clip of it, but that's
probably the case.
You want me to sing it?
No, I'm good.
Oh man,
I appreciate your courtesy, but no.
The lyrics in the song are so cool that it's worth just going to go to the lyric sheet if nothing else. Like if you don't play the song,
I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
So the song's called Flagpole Sitta, and Harvey Danger, Aaron Huffman, Evan Soot, Jeff Lynne, and Sean Nelson wrote that. 1997, Where Have All the Merrymakers Gone is the name of the album.
Really?
Yep.
That's a cool name for an album.
Yeah, it is. So that's my last one. You get one more.
All right. So from Twist and Shout, meaning I'm going to give you the song. You're going to give me some lyrics. This is one that you definitely should know, but you're probably going to stumble on.
Okay. Thanks for all the confidence.
By Rockpile.
Okay.
Teacher.
I can't learn it fast enough.
That is a lyric
Teach
from the song.
me more. I got to learn to love for sure.
There you go. You've got it. You've got it. I'll give you that.
Teach me love. That is a really, really good song.
Cool it's Rockpile, so it's Dave Edmunds and
it's those guys. And they are you looking to me to fill in? No. And they made just a lot of cool Rockpile music, a whole rock pile of cool music, if you will.
Well, the thing is, so much of the stuff that was done by Dave Edmunds, Billy Bremner, Terry Williams was the actual band, but there were also
the guy who always co-wrote with Dave Edmunds, Nick Lowe.
Nick Lowe was in and out of that apparently, and again in my head, Dave Edmunds and Nick Lowe, and to a certain extent Elvis Costello, are almost all interchangeable because they did so much working on each other's albums.
Yes,
they sat in and so forth.
Collaborated.
And I'm probably wrong, and I'm sure that they will come and hit me in the head with a stick, but
no, they won't do that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
do you know how much they think about you?
Not at all. I know exactly how much they think about me.
Which isn't how much they think of you.
Oh, right.
But it's yes.
1980, the album Seconds of Pleasure. What a great name for an album.
Yeah.
And again, that whole era, those guys pretty much epitomize that whole alternative period to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that they were doing all that much in it. They were here and there. They popped up and down, but it was just like a bunch of different artists doing cool shit. Didn't really matter what genre it was in.
Right.
Hey, this is what I like. You don't like it? Have a nice day.
Right. We put this song together, and it sounds like it sounds.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Somehow, and I was really kind of thinking about this the other day. I promise I won't digress too long, but it is a topic that could be covered in an uncontrolled substance. Somehow, there is a genre that is alternative music, and it has a similarity to the spectrum of rock and roll. Because Elvis Costello, as we've discussed briefly previously, and Nick Lowe and Dave Edmunds and some others related, we talked about Joe Jackson, are solidly considered alternative music performers at large. Like their first category would be alternative music under the rock umbrella. They do standards, blues. Their songs are the range of music, but somehow the style that they put into them is
what makes it alternative.
Right. It's recreated sounding or something like that.
There's a nuance there that's hard to define.
Hard to put a finger on, and my mind just goes, it's not quite, but it is, but it's
you remember
not
the big kerfluffle? There's a read word.
Yeah.
The big kerfluffle when
wasn't that a character on Sesame Street?
When U2 got their fourth in a row best alternative album.
Yeah.
And he came out and said, by the way, we're not the alternative anymore.
Right.
So I mean, when it starts defining the genre.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is it still called alternative?
Right.
But alternative radio is still a thing.
Right.
It's
no longer
thing common in every market. There's an
no
alternative
longer Dave
radio
Edmunds
station.
and Nick Lowe. There's a new alternative.
Right. And it has an identity. Is the puzzling thing.
Well, because it's so hard to define is why it's a puzzling thing.
Right.
Me.
I can think of newer bands relatively newer bands I'll think of the name of the band in a second, but the start of their most notable song is la 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 la. What is that band? Yeah,
That band
it's the Offspring. It's the Offspring. Yeah. And their music is heavy guitar riffs and you know, 3-chordy stuff. It does have some unique beats in a lot of the songs, you know what I mean, unique rhythms and what have you. But it's hard rock, and it keeps but it's identifiable as alternative, and I don't know.
Exactly.
It's hard to put a
That's
finger
the
on.
thing.
It's very confusing.
Well,
very confusing.
I'm easily confused.
Yeah. You know what I think that is? You know what I think this is? Time for us to shut up.
I think that's probably the case.
It's probably safer that we do, because man, we are going to meander.
And we're already doing that.
We've beat these people to death, and it's time for us to stop the flogging. So, folks, what do you think? Did we do good?
If you're asking me, I'm going to say no.
Let us know what your MixedUpz opinion of the MixedUpz episode is.
Or your MixedUpz opinion.
MixedUpz episode, that's right. Thank
so
you.
read
Thank
there.
you for reminding me. This has been our MixedUpz episode, where we did whatever we wanted through the whole thing, and I had a good time with that. I don't know about you, but I really
and the
did
thing
enjoy
is,
it.
you know, we never ever do that, right? We always do what we're forced to do.
Yeah, we always it's like we're straitjacketed.
Yeah,
really.
exactly. Yeah.
It's like we don't have any choice.
All right, so this has been going on for a while, and it's been fun. It's been real. It hasn't been real fun. No, I'm kidding, of course.
Thank you for listening. Thank you. Come back, listen again, share with your friends, like it, love it, send us hugs and kisses and all that, and
Follow.
Why not?
I will follow him.
If you walk away, I will follow.
Can we do
Yeah.
that? You got any more of those? Because I've got 3 or 4
I
more.
think
So.
we can. Yeah, we could waste another 20 minutes.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. If you want to check out the website and go visit some of those charities we talk about all the time,
Right.
we'd love to hear that.
There are
I'm sure
websites
that the
on there
folks,
of
the
value.
charities there would love to have you contributing.
Yes.
Lots of good music stuff. There's a food pantry thing on there.
Right.
And I'm just filling space here because
And
I think it needs to be
feedback,
said.
comment if we have triggered you, if the show has achieved its goal, and that is
feel
to
I've
make
been
you
triggered.
think about all this stuff, give you something to lift your mood for the day, giving you a song in your head, giving you something to go check out and investigate, learn something new, enrich yourself. We want to hear about it. What was it like for you? Share your experience with us. We want to be, never mind.
Yeah.
You.
Move on.
We want to be like you. Ooh. That's related to the apes.
Okay.
And that's Louis Prima, and it's rock and roll, so it fits.
There you go.
Okay, see ya. This has been great.
MixedUpz, we're out.